So when you say that a presentation converts, what does that mean for educators and maybe people like me, instructional designers, and maybe what action should happen after the talk
Let me
occurs?
address that first by taking you through a process that I work with on clients. And so you'll have to forgive me. I'm a former teacher, so everything I do either rhymes or it's alliterative. And so I
I
take
love
my
it.
through what I call the 5 C's process. And so the 5 C's are clarity, connect, content, call to action, and close. Before you put together a single word in your presentation, you have to ask yourself 2 clarity questions. And you'd be amazed 95% of the people I work with at first cannot answer one or both of these questions in a succinct manner. Those 2 questions are, who is your audience and what is the problem that you solve? So this goes to the question that you're actually asking me. If I'm working with educators and I'm talking about converting, well, what does that mean? Does that mean everybody's getting an A, or I get better understanding? You know, when I work with clients, I only judge their effectiveness in one way and one way only. I'll have people come back to me and say, "Oh my God, I'm not nervous on stage anymore." I'm like, "Well, that's great." Or some will say, "I got a standing ovation." I'm like, "That's wonderful, good for you." But the only way I ever judge your effectiveness is how many people in your audience have taken the next step with you. So that can be an unpaid next step, like subscribe to my podcast or vote for me. More typically with my clients, it's a paid next step, like buy my product or invest in my coaching program. We need to know our numbers. How many people in your audience have you actually inspired to take that next step with you? That's the only way we're going to judge your effectiveness. So as a teacher, if over half of your students failed the exam, they did not fail anything. You failed them. And so you need to understand your effectiveness. And if you're having 70, 80, 90% of your students passing, well, that's good. That's a measure of you. It's not a measure of them. And I held myself to that standard as a teacher. It's actually one of the reasons I kind of had to leave teaching is I held myself to a very high standard and perfectionist, basically.
I'm the same way. Yep. I love that. Yeah. I had a couple of students in one of my classes that were getting B's and it was hard. But, at the same time, I was like, I did all I could to help them. I said, do you need extra time on this assignment? And I gave them the extra time. And yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll do what I can. But at the same time, yeah, it's hard with adult learners, right? The adults. Yeah.
There's an important word I learned during COVID, and that's grace. Is you got to give
Yes.
people grace, and you have to give yourself grace. And
Absolutely.
inevitably, every semester, my wife at the end of the term saw me frustrated, and she's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, there are 2 people that are going to fail because they refused to fulfill their obligation. It really just goes back to that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. You can't help people that don't want to be helped.
Absolutely. Right.
Get
Yeah, that's
frustrated.
true. Yeah, exactly. And that grace is so important, not just for the student, but for ourselves too, as
Mhm.
teachers and educators. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that. And I loved how, you define what that call to action should be, right? It should be clear, that call to action. It shouldn't be something ambiguous. I also heard too, and I've heard this with podcasts, and I wonder if this is true with presentations too. And I'm sure I know the answer already, but when you're giving a presentation and you give that call to action, you don't want it to be 5 different things, right? That you want them to do. You want it to be one clear action, right?
So we're jumping ahead for my 5 C's, but we'll go right to call to action because you've been in the
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make in their presentations. I was on a podcast earlier today, and the hostess, as she signed off, she said, "I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star review." And we got off the air, and I said, "You just asked your audience to do 3 different things. They're not going to do any of them." So again, I'm a former teacher, everything rhymes. So I always say, choices confuse and cause you to lose. You need one clear call to action.